10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The promised land.
Well then, good morning, everybody. You had me yesterday for an extra little cheeky Sunday stream, and it was a good one. We talked about Frenkie de Jong and the advancing deal. It's really advancing. This week is when it's supposed to be done, by Thursday, according to most of the reports. I'm going to run through all of that. But today is all about Erik Ten Hag. Erik Ten Hag is in Carrington. He's already there. He's been there for an hour and a half already. The players are due at training in 25 minutes. We're going to start getting the first pictures of Erik Ten Hag as Manchester United's manager at Manchester United's training ground. Now, that is exciting. How are you all doing? Did you have a good weekend? I had a cracking weekend. I went and saw the Chili's on Saturday. Anderson Paak, Thundercat. Nice bit of weather. Ooh. And then the De Jong deal on Sunday night. That's what we were waiting for. We were waiting for the big advancements, and it's happened. But who's down here this morning? I can see a couple of you joining the member family. Here we got Mushtaik down there. I'm sure I recognize your name before. And we also had Mark McKeelan. Mark, let me know where you're watching from, buddy. Like JB watching from Sweden. Good morning to all of you. Who else is down here? Anuj, I can see you there. Nilanjan and Sankar, I can see you there as well. Al, Daisy, Reggio, all the regulars here. Josh and Ant, I can see you too. Peter, Deba. Oh, man, too many of you. Fred as well. Good morning to all of you. And good morning, especially, to a Mr. Erik Ten Hag. Yes, please. I know it's been a frustrating few weeks, right? Geez, I know that just as much as you do. I've had to cover it all. And you've had to listen to me covering it. So, yeah, I think you lose that one. But Erik Ten Hag, he's there at training this morning. Yeah, good luck to a lot of those players, man. Good luck. That's all I will say in that. My best Liam Neeson impression. Good luck. Not Liam Neeson impression, but you know what I mean. He's there. He's at training. Today, no doubt we're going to see the first pictures of Erik Ten Hag on the pitch at Carrington, and the buzz will begin. There. Man. It's great. Oh, look at that. Where's that comment there? Al, you saying you saw Chili's on Wednesday? Flea, mate, Flea was amazing. If you don't know the Chili's, Flea's a bass player. He came out when doing a handstand. John Frusciante was amazing. You know, sometimes you build a gig up in your head and it delivers. The Chili's, they still got it, absolutely. But I tell you, I can't wait to see what happens this week, all right? Erik Ten Hag is there. Steve McLaren is there. Mitchell van der Gag arrived early this morning as well. But this is the time where you can start, I believe, getting excited, all right? The last few weeks, we've covered it all here on United People's TV, and it's been painful. It's been slow. It's been nowhere near as slick and as professional as we would all want it to be. Ultimately, it will still, look by the looks of it, end with Frenkie de Jong joining Manchester United. That's a very good thing. That's the best thing. It's the greatest thing that we could have hoped for this summer, considering how much of a priority he was for Erik Ten Hag. And it's exactly why I didn't do a separate video looking at alternatives for Frenkie de Jong, because I realized there really wasn't an alternative. Now, let's run through the story. I brought you all the updates last night on Frenkie de Jong. Actually, no, before we do, let's quickly take a look at this. This is an interesting one because, of course, pre-season training starts today, but not everyone's going to be there. I can't get this microphone central. There you go. That's better. Nice and central. But the whole squad is not going to be joining up because, of course, quite a lot of them were part of the UEFA Nations League, had internationals. So the whole squad's not going to be there, but there will be 15 players here. And this is it. These are the players that are expected to turn up for pre-season training today. And the first sessions under Erik Ten Hag. You've got De Gea Henderson. Henderson's, of course, is about to be moving to Nottingham Forest. So there's reports that he might get moved just to Nottingham Forest's training ground until that deal is actually pushed through. Right, let's see what goes on there. But Tom Heaton, Wan-Bissaka's there. Lindelof, Bailly, Jones, Twanzebe, Williams and Shaw. Quite obviously a lot of players missing, but there's a lot of players there you can get excited about. Well, maybe not a lot. But Van der Beek. Now, I know that everyone's buzzing to see what Donny does. I mean, I'm excited and intrigued in equal measure. I'm not going to blow my load over the fact that Van der Beek's going to be playing under Ten Hag, but he made him a top 20 Ballon d'Or shortlisted player in that season. He's a fantastic player. I'm intrigued to see what he can get out of him inside this Manchester United squad. If he can find that player again, wow. I mean, it will feel like a new signing. I mean, as I said, I'm intrigued and excited in equal measure about Van der Beek. You got Ahmad there. You got Sancho. Now, that's one I'm dead excited about. I think Sancho is going to be an absolute baller underneath Ten Hag. Martial and Rashford, They're all the players that are joining in today. They will, looking at that squad, if we're being completely realistic, Henderson, he'll probably won't be here at the start of the season. Jones, he shouldn't be here at the start of the season. Tuanzebe, I think I'll be a little bit surprised if he's here at the start of the season. And Williams, depending on whether someone comes in for him or not, there's every chance that he might not be here at the start of the season. Then you've got Martial, who could be shipped out as well. So there's 3, 4, 5 players that out of those 15 there that may well not be part of Manchester United squad for our game against Brighton on the 7th of August. It's an interesting one, right? I wouldn't say the majority of the squad are deadwood, but there's a lot inside that squad that don't particularly have guaranteed futures at the club. Ali, you sent in a super sticker, buddy. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, my friend. Patrick watching from Nigeria. Good morning to you, my friend. Look, man, the buzz is there. The buzz begins now. I'm going to do a video later today. I'm going to do it on Erik Ten Hag's preseason plans. You know, what's he going to be doing in training? Everything. I need to move along. Microphone's annoying me. Sit centrally. There we go. No, over there. There we go. That looks better. Yeah, that's it. That's nice and central. But yeah, Ten Hag is going to get cracking straight. He's going to crack the whip. I'll tell you what, a lot of these players do not know what is coming, do they? They really don't. They've had this luxurious, comfortable, easygoing environment at Manchester United for a long time where players basically decided what they wanted to do and when they wanted to do it. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. That's all I will say. Steve there saying Erik Ten Hag's going to be doing some training, running around giving stone cold stunners, doing 3Ds with Steve McLaren off the top rope. Look, all jokes aside, I'm just excited to see not just a hard taskmaster. It's not, I mean, we had Jose Mourinho. He was a hard taskmaster, but a genuinely top level coach who has real experience of developing players. Jose Mourinho, for all his strengths and all his worth, he was a man who bought for now. That's how he succeeded. He did it very, very well. Had elite level teams and could manage them at the elite level. Erik Ten Hag has crafted his teams at Ajax and turned them into top teams through his coaching. And we need that. My, do we need that? And one player we need to be part of that, of course, is Frenkie de Jong. Now, last night, I really enjoyed that stream on Sunday evening. I don't know, it felt a little bit different. As I said, you know me by now. I'm genuinely a positive person. The way United have acted, I did 2 videos at the weekend, one on Saturday saying, look, this is by far the most significant transfer window I think we've ever had in the Premier League. It's the most important transfer window we've ever had in the Premier League. And we couldn't afford to get it wrong. So that's why I did that video. I'm really getting annoyed with my microphone this morning. I don't know why. Sit there and don't move. That'll do. Stop touching it. Stop touching it. I can see down here by the... You can't be doing this again. Is it Sigmund? Are you doing it again? You're making me look bad. I can see down here. What? He is. Sigmund handing out 5. Mate, you are a guy. I tell you what. Let me go down here and let me join that. All right? Because today is Erik Ten Hag's first day of preseason training. Sod it. Come on, man. It's Monday. Everyone's in a good mood. Let's hand out 10 memberships. Let me make sure this works before I actually say anything. There we go. I'm pretty sure I've just dropped 10 in there as well. So 15. Woo! 15 members there this morning. Good morning to all of you. Sigmund, you're a legend for doing that and inspiring me to hand out 10 as well. So that's 15. Don't say we don't treat you well here on United People's TV. But look, let's go here. Let's talk about Frenkie de Jong. I gave you the majority of the updates last night. There's a couple more snippets this morning. But you know the main story. This was from the Telegraph last night. Manchester United are close to signing a £69 million deal for Frenkie de Jong. That's great news. £69 million is 80 million euros. I spoke about it yesterday. We know what the first bid was. It was 60 million plus 10. It looks like that's been increased from 65 million to and plus 15, sorry. So 60 and 10 to 65 and 15. It's an extra 10 million on top. Look at that. Carson, good morning to you. You get the membership. By the way, when you hand out memberships, when you gift memberships on YouTube, they just hand them out to people. You can't choose who gets them. So I apologize to anybody else who didn't get one, but it's not my choice. It's just YouTube giving them out, all right? You know what I found interesting about this, de Jong story yesterday from the Telegraph? It's by Ian Whittle. And you'll know full well that if you follow the Telegraph, that their main reporters are, I believe, Jason Burt and, of course, James Ducker. So Ian Whittle out of nowhere reporting that one. And also, the same story appearing on the Times. So he must be some sort of freelancer with the main story going around. But this was published on the Times last night at about 9:45. Manchester United aim to wrap that Frenkie de Jong deal up this week. Said Erik Ten Hag wants to have the club signed, wants the club to have signed, Frenkie de Jong by the end of the week. And go down here, and that's the agreement we're talking about. And it's saying here, look, both clubs expect the deal to be completed before Thursday, the end of the accounting period for the Spanish clubs. Now, I knew full well that this De Jong deal, and we've known this all along, right? We've known that it's all revolved around that financial window, the financial record, and whether or not they were going to register him before. And that I still don't know. The deal might be announced before the end of the week, but they might wait until after the 1st of July before they register it so that they can then hopefully invest more of it. But I don't give a shit about Barcelona and what you do with your money, man. We're just getting our player. We're just getting our player. And that's what we want. Rory, I can see you down there drinking whiskey. Let me know where you're watching from, Rory. You see Rory's like quadruple bogey this weekend. My God. My word. That was unfortunate. But look, the latest from Manchester Evening News as well on this story is Manchester United are understood to have submitted that improved bid for De Jong, and sources say it is a matter of when and not if this deal is finished. I felt that for some time now. Just my gut instinct. It's always felt like it's been a case of when and not if we'll see Frenkie de Jong holding that shirt up. But finally, we're getting it done, man. We're getting it done. And I'm sure a lot of you do see or understand that. But De Jong's going to be such a transformative signing, man. That's what, as I said, I prepared a video. Look, if you go over here, oh no, I'll speak about that later on, actually. Stupid BBC website updates instead of just leaving the window. That's annoying. Anyway, I did a video and I prepared it looking at 5 Frenkie de Jong alternatives. Because the way it was going, I just didn't know whether Manchester United were going to get our man. But then I realized, I said, there is no alternative for Frenkie de Jong. That's how important he is to this Ten Hag summer. It wouldn't really have mattered what else we did if we didn't sign Frenkie de Jong. That's how big of an impact it would have had on our summer had we ballsed it all up. But we haven't. We've got de Jong, man. Well, we haven't got de Jong. Jeez, I'm not going to go. I've just said it there. But at this point, you're just going to be so surprised. You really are going to be so surprised if it doesn't end like that. It looks like he's probably going to wear number 21 as well. Sporty, how you doing, man? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Emmy is saying Frenkie de Jong deal will not work. Why can't they get someone else? Oh, my God. Well, you are feeling very chipper. And it looks like you've got a free membership as well. Jeez. Of course, this Frenkie de Jong deal is going through now. It's been a long, drawn-out... I've maintained throughout all this frustration here among United fans, transfer failures, abysmal, shambles. I've said, look, Manchester United have failed up until this point. The fact that we've hired Tom Keane and brought him in goes to show that the club admits it's not gone correct until this point. But I've maintained the entire way through that I think by the time the season starts, or maybe by the time that the transfer window closes, we're going to be happy with what we've done. And if it starts with this, it's the best start possible. Debo, you're saying, can it be done by Thursday? That is what we're hearing everywhere. Thursday is what Manchester United are aiming for with the De Jong deal. Get it done, get it sorted. Good, because I'm at a wedding on Saturday and I don't want to miss the announcement. So come on, United, don't be selfish. Get it done by Thursday. Jibak, you're saying reality check begins today for Ten Hag. We'll find out soon who he breaks. My money's on player power. So we'll find out soon who breaks whom first. That's a very hard sentence to say. My money's on player power and mediocrity, but I'm hoping that I'm dead wrong. Things are changing, man. Things have already changed. Pogba's gone. Matic is gone. Lingard is gone. Cavani's gone. Can't remember who else is gone. Someone else. An established older guard that had their roots in. They were happy. They were good. They weren't particularly helped. Not all of them were negative influences, but quite a few of them were. They're all gone. They're going to be replaced by the likes of Hannibal, Fernandes, Garnacho. Fresh blood, young blood, coming through, ready to be coached by Erik Ten Hag. As I said, Frenkie de Jong was just a sprightly youngster who came through the Ajax Academy until Erik Ten Hag took him under his wing and turned him into one of the best midfielders in the world. Same goes for Donny van der Beek. Same goes for Matthijs de Ligt. There are of course, yes, there are players who can be geez, United have had so many of those players, talented youngsters that don't particularly break through and make it. Down, at least in part, due to the mental approach of that player and the attitude, but also down to the coach that they are working under. Erik Ten Hag, it's going to change today. As I said, I'm very interested to see what stories develop from Carrington this week. Because will Manchester United be able to keep it all behind closed doors? I hope so. We don't want any leaks, do we? We don't want to hear the ins and outs and the inside story of Ten Hag's training sessions. I don't want to be able to find out, because it will show that the stories are all leaking from the training ground. Still, we don't want that anymore, right? Michael, you're saying, look, I'm feeling the Ornstein exclusive today. That's what we're waiting for. You know, no offense to Fabrizio Romano, but everybody's waiting for Ornstein now. Ornstein's taken over. I've said this before. Like, when it comes to Fabrizio, what used to make him so incredible was that, I mean, he still is incredible, right? But he speaks so often and constantly now that he's diminishing his own power. And when Ornstein speaks, it's just like, boom, he hits, absolutely hits. Nottingham wants Pereira. No, Nottingham doesn't want Pereira, but I'll tell you who does. Fulham. And I won't ever hear a bad word against Fulham again. But look, number one on the list, we know it has always been Frenkie de Jong. It's been painful. It's been long. It's been protracted. But by Thursday, if Manchester United get their way, this deal is done for de Jong. So expect us to be here live on a stream at some point in the next few days, excited after hopefully an Ornstein tweet and an announcement that a de Jong deal has been achieved. That's what we're waiting for. And we all know who's next after that, of course. And that's Antony. Now, this is from Simon Stone from the BBC. This is what he's saying about Antony. He said, Manchester United want another attacker who can operate across a range of positions. And I'll be honest, that's not particularly Antony. He's a right winger. He is a straight up right winger. Ajax's Brazil international Antony heads that list. And the fact that he missed the first day of training with the Dutch club has fueled talk of a move. United know that Ajax are financially in a strong position, given they are selling Gravenberch to Bayern. That's already done. And Haller's going Dortmund. We know that's happening. It is not being taken for granted by Murto, who is directing the transfer operations, and his team that talks will definitely reach a successful conclusion. You go over to see what Fabrizio is saying on this situation. He goes, it's an important week for Ajax. And down here, saying new approaches are also expected for Antony and Lisandro Martinez. Now, I did a video on Friday talking about Antony. And I asked you, what do you think about Antony as a signing? You let me know in the comments here today if you'd like to. But Antony, for the price that we're looking at, I mean, we've seen crazy prices of like 69. Was it 69? I think it was 69 million as well for Antony. 80 million euros. Same price as Frenkie de Jong. Come on, Ajax. And Ajax know that. Ajax are putting it way, way too high because they don't really want to sell up Antony this summer unless they have to. By selling Antony this summer, it's like a year in advance. Daisy, you're mentioning there that Arsenal are after Martinez. Yes, Arsenal are after Martinez. They've already had a bid rejected. No doubt they're going to go back in with another bid. We've obviously been linked with de Ligt. We've been linked with Martinez. If we're looking at number one targets, it would have been Yuri and Timber. We wouldn't really be having a conversation too much about Martinez because Yuri and Timber would already be a Manchester United player. That one there, I believe, because of our distraction with Frenkie de Jong, we didn't go through quick enough and hard enough with Yuri and Timber. And that allowed doubts to sort of creep into his mind. And ultimately, he's decided, right, at this point in my career, at the age of 20, I want to stay here at Ajax. Fine, you can do that. Will that mean that he's going to get into the squad? I don't know. Let's find out. When it comes to Antony, as Fabrizio says here, new approaches are expected this week for Antony and Martinez. It's a shame for, as I said, it's a shame for Ajax, but sometimes these sorts of fire sales happen. And when your manager leaves and Mark Overmars is left as well, two of the three of the crucial Holy Trinity, if you want to call it that, for Ajax, have left. And it's only Edwin van der Sar there steering the ship with a new manager in Alfred Schroeder. And of course, they're losing players left, right, and centre. Ryan Gravenberch is leaving. Mazraoui is left. Tagliafico is pushing for a move away. Haller is leaving already. Then you've got Antony potentially, and you've got Martinez as well. It's a shame really for Ajax, but it's happening because Erik Ten Hag has left, because Mark Overmars has already left, and the established Ajax setup that was there before now doesn't have that same sort of guarantee. It doesn't have that stability anymore, and that, unfortunately, is what is happening to Ajax. Down here in the comments, quite a few of you talking about CDMs and why we're not going for one. I mean, come on. You know how many times I've had that argument here on United People's TV. But it seems like not that that's not the priority for Erik Ten Hag, but he's looking at it from a different angle and a different perspective. He wants 2 ball-playing central midfielders first and foremost. I don't think that's Christian Eriksen and Dion, because I think both of those fall into a similar profile. We need someone like Sangare, in my opinion, anyway. But I don't know who that's going to be. That is still not something, let's be honest, that we've got any sort of clarity on so far this summer. We've been talking about De Jong. We've been talking about Eriksen. Plenty of conversations about Antony. Plenty of conversations about Nkunku or Nunes before that. And then going back to centre-back, a load of conversations about Martinez, about Yuri and Timber, about Pau Torres. I mean, who have we really talked about in that central defensive midfield role? No one, really. We've had conversations about Neves. They've been pipe dreams more than anything. I don't think we can afford Neves. Don't think there's any chance of that happening. Sangare, stories start to come out from PSV. I interviewed Dutch journalist Rick Elfrink from Eindhoven. Find out the inside story. Guy's got a 37 million euro release clause. Done and dusted. Simple transfer. But it depends whether or not Manchester United want to go for him. And Craig here, you need to stop drinking. It's 9:55 in the morning, Craig. Stop that right now. We don't need a CDM. We've got McFred. I can see the sarcasm there. Of course I can. But McFred will become the squad players at Manchester United. Fred's got an opportunity still. I think Fred showed last year he's better than most people give him credit for. When used correctly in the right positions in the right way. A little bit similar to Fellaini. Fellaini only really started to begrudge Fellaini at Manchester United when he started playing week in, week out as our starting central midfielder. And I'm like, what are you doing? That's disgusting. Bring Fellaini on or start Fellaini in that like attacking midfield role for the last 20 minutes. Boom. Then you get something out of Fellaini. Similar situation, I think. Chelsea wants De Ligt to handy. Says that, right, Chelsea are too busy sacking Czech, sacking Maria. Can't remember her name. But Maria. They've got Todd Burley, their new owners, come in, just shipped out the whole club. And now it's going to be him and Thomas Tuchel just deciding. He basically doesn't trust anybody to spend his money. That's what he looks like anyway. McTominay will be our CDM. Malps, put down the alcohol as well. That's not happening. And Steve, there's too many people drinking in the comments here this morning. Seriously. Everyone's got to stop it. Lots of you talking about Fred. Lots of you talking about McTominay. Chris, you're saying, look, Fred and Scott, under good coaching, will both be great footballers. No, they won't be great footballers, but they will be good footballers. They will be good footballers, and I think they'll be good footballers at Manchester United for a good few years, whether you like it or not, really. But of course, we know full well that Antony, as it stands, Antony's next on that list. Let's see what develops this week. Maybe something more will develop when it comes to Martinez, when it comes to a centre-back search. But at this moment in time, it's still all quiet on the Western Front when it comes to I'm not just talking about a pure defensive midfielder, but somebody, I've explained this before, I'll explain it. Somebody who's got that natural instinct to think from a defensive perspective straight away. First thing Frenkie de Jong thinks about is how can I bring the ball forward? First thing Eriksen will think about is how can I bring the ball forward? The same goes for Fred. And I believe the same goes for McTominay, even though last year he did show a bit more discipline as the season progressed inside that number 6 role. But none of them are natural defensive-minded players. They all want to bring it forward, which is great, but that's not a balanced setup. We need balance. If balance is the key word, we need that signing. But I'll tell you one thing to really get excited about, and I swear to God, if this doesn't deserve a like on the video, I don't think anything else will all summer long. Fulham are coming in with an £8.6 million offer for Andreas Pereira. I've always liked Fulham. Great. Craven Cottage. Lovely away day. Really is quite a nice away day, actually. But beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, please, Fulham. Come on down. We'll put a little ribbon on it. We'll wrap it up nicely for you. We'll spray it with some aftershave. Perfect. Andreas Pereira to Fulham for that price. My word. Go down here. This is from the BBC, by the way. I'm not just making this up. Fulham have made a €10 million offer for Pereira. It seems unlikely he's going to get a place. My God, look at that. This is what we need to do. I've told you, I was looking at going, how in the world are Man City selling Gavin Bazunu, their goalkeeper, to Southampton for 15 million? Andreas Pereira, I'm being a little bit unfair, but it's just that we've been stuck in this. Oh my God, here we go again. Summer after summer after summer. And he's still only 26. And I tell you what, it could well be a very good signing for that price for Fulham. And then good luck to him. Absolutely good luck to him. But this Manchester United need to ship these players out. We've become like I don't know. Gary Neville calls it a graveyard, but it's like a retirement home. I don't know what it is. It's just a holiday camp for all these players who we can't seem to get rid of because their wages are too high, the contracts are too inflated, and no one wants to pay that price for them. As Keeley says, and again, I don't mean this in an offensive way to Andreas Pereira, but yeah, we would. It's done and dusted. Good. Glenn, nice to see you there joining as a member, my friend. Where are you watching from? But Andreas Pereira, for that price, fantastic news. Fantastic news for Manchester United. That's 10 million near enough 10 million, boom, straight into the coffers. We've heard all summer long that our budget is anywhere between 100 and 200 million pounds, depending on what story you read and who's reporting it. But something that definitely will help Erik Ten Hag and his budget is selling players. Nearly 10 million for Pereira. Great news. Let's see what we can get for Phil Jones. I reckon somewhere in the region of 5 to 10 million. Phil Jones is a reasonable expectation. And again, Phil Jones, if he can stay injury-free now, I wish him the best of luck elsewhere. Not Manchester United anymore. It's something new. It's something different. And it's something brand new with this man at the helm. And that does not include Andreas Pereira. That does not include Phil Jones. And in my opinion, it shouldn't include Antony Martial, Dean Henderson. Let's see what happens on loan this season. And then whoever else. Eric Bailly, I don't think he should be there too. But that's great news. It really is. For Manchester United to get that deal done, that's a good bit of business. A good bit of business. Let me go down here and see what your comments are saying. Jones will do well at Burnley. Yeah, may well. That's maybe a good shout. Jones going down to the championship's a hell of a competition. He plays so many games as well. Free goal, I like Eriksen. He's on a free. We can see that the latest reports are that Christian Eriksen will let Manchester United know this week what he wants to do. Christian Eriksen's just sitting there. He's sitting pretty in a lovely position. Fine, I could stay in London. I think he's got offers from Manchester United, Everton, Newcastle. I don't think Spurs are interested in it. Everybody seems to want a slice of the Eriksen pie. We've given him a decent offer. We won't break our back. We won't lose sweat. We won't cry if he doesn't decide to join us. As I said, I think it only comes down to one of two things. If Christian Eriksen is prioritizing ambition, then Manchester United is his only option. Biggest club, best offer, biggest chance of establishing yourself in the highest stage possible. If lifestyle and family might be a little bit more important, then he may well stay settled in London and stay at Brentford. I think it's going to be United or Brentford. And if it's any other choice, I will be very, very surprised. Jigs, Jigs, KV. Going to call you KV. Alvarez, I think, is probably it wouldn't be the best signing for Manchester United. Alvarez, I think, would be the time where I'll be like, hold on. What are we like? Manchester Ajax FC? What's going on here? I think he would be a decent player, but he's far more limited inside that role than what we need. And I think Erik Ten Hag is trying to get somebody who's a bit more, he's got a bit more about him in terms of his possession going forward. At the same time, it's a bit like Roy Keane. You know when Roy Keane was there, every time you heard Roy Keane speaking about midfielders last year, he's like, you keep talking about number 6s and number 8s and number 10s. It's like, no, you're just a midfielder. You need to be able to do everything. And Roy Keane was the greatest example of that, of somebody who could be the most tenacious, aggressive tackling midfielder, but somebody who pops up on the edge of the box with a goal or comes up and crops up with a header away at Juventus. Roy Keane was the definition of an all-rounded midfielder, of a true box-to-box midfielder. And probably that's what Erik Ten Hag is looking for. Rather than someone like Wilfred Ndidi, a true number 6, he wants that midfielder who can do it all. Who that is, I've got absolutely no idea. Johnson, you know full well what I think about Ruben Neves and the fact that I think he would be a good signing for Manchester United. But at this moment in time, Ruben Neves, I've heard not a peep about it. And I don't think you have either. Learning Norwegian. How are you doing here? A bit off topic, but James Alcott mentioned about Samisms. What's your side of it? P.S. Love the channel. Cheers, buddy. Well, Samisms. I used to work with James. Used to work with Flav for a good few years. They're really good guys. Samisms. I basically got this habit of when I'm doing videos and live videos especially, I just mix idioms up in my head. I know what I want to say, but it just comes out completely wrong. I can't even. I'm trying to think of one in my head now, but I can't even think of one. But yeah, it's when I mix things up in my head and it just comes out and it creates this new thing called a Samism. I'm sure. Go over there to James Alcott's chat. By the way, subscribe to James Alcott. Big up to James. Don't subscribe to Flav. He's an absolute idiot anyway. I wouldn't go anywhere near him. I'm joking, Flav. Love you, really. But look, lots of you this morning in the comments. I've seen a lot of this, right? I've seen a lot of this. A lot of you talking about Harry Maguire. And I've seen a lot of you talking about this absolute madness. And it's the only thing I'm going to be mentioning here from the Sun. Manchester United have rejected a sensational Barcelona transfer bid for Harry Maguire. Come on, man. Martin Blackburn, where are you pulling that from? Pulling that out your ass. Why Barcelona going to go anywhere near Maguire? Come on, people. I know you want it to be true. Don't think that's true. But this was coming from Simon Stone from the BBC yesterday. Last season, the squad was split after a disagreement over the captaincy with Ronaldo at its core, which left Harry Maguire a very unhappy man. That's a shame that he was unhappy. But look, I fully expect the captaincy to be taken away from Harry Maguire. I think that will be one thing that Erik Ten Hag, and that's from a purely clean slate point of view. How does Erik Ten Hag know that Harry Maguire is his captain on the pitch with his football? He probably has different demands of captains. He'll want to choose his own captain off the back of what he sees in this preseason. I don't expect him to make any choice on the captaincy until realistically, like, I don't know, couple of weeks before the season starts. He doesn't need to rush into that decision. I think it's a very important decision. I think it's a decision which will reverberate and have impact. It's at least not on Harry Maguire. But there's no way that Harry Maguire should be staying as our captain. And Mo, I asked this last night on the show, and Steve, you're saying the same thing as well. Overwhelming majority of you in the comments, I would say 85%-ish, all said no, that Frenkie de Jong should not be Manchester United's captain. And I personally completely agree with you 100%. We made a massive mistake in giving Harry Maguire the captaincy. I think before he even played a game at Manchester United. If not, it was after a couple of games. There's absolutely no chance that we should be giving De Jong the captaincy straight away. I mean, he might do, because if we're talking about Erik Ten Hag's system, he will be the captain without the armband. De Jong will literally be the lieutenant on the pitch for Erik Ten Hag, the person he will be pointing towards to make sure everybody does their job properly. So he probably will be the captain. But I think it might, I don't know, it feels a bit risky to give it to De Jong straight away. I personally think you're looking at Bruno, Ronaldo, or De Gea, one of those three. And I don't know. In my opinion, it's between Bruno and Ronaldo. And I don't really... How important do you think it is? You let me know in the comments below. I'll read a few of your opinions out on this one. Do you think it really will make that much of a difference who he gives the captaincy to? Or do you think that everybody will just be trying to make stories out of it and trying to use that as an example of like a split dressing room and he's creating cliques and X, Y, Z? Do you think it's a massively important thing that he has to get right straight away? Or do you think the only important thing is that he takes it away from Harry Maguire? I'll be interested to know what you think about that. Dipesh, you're saying De Gea deserves it. Daisy, you're saying Bruno's contract is long enough to give it to him, but it should be Ronaldo. Gamer, you're saying, yeah, the captaincy absolutely is important. Dave, you're saying, I've always said that Bruno should be captain. Bruno's played like a captain. He may not have played incredibly well last year, but still, Bruno Fernandes played fantastically well. Overall, his numbers were still stupid. Maybe no, he didn't play fantastically well. He still had the output. Still had a lot of goals and a lot of assists, but Bruno got a bit hot-headed last year, didn't he? Got a bit hot-headed. Power, you're saying we need a captain that is determined and help drive the team. Well, that would probably be any of those four. De Jong, De Gea, Bruno, and Ronaldo would all fall into that category. I personally agree with this. I don't know whether it's me or me being old school, but the idea of a goalkeeper as a captain, it's just a goalkeeper can't influence and affect the football on a minute-by-minute basis because he's stood in the back. He stood in his goal line. Sure, he can command everything that happens in front of him very easily. What he should do. That's what goalkeepers do. But the captain, I always feel like that's why it's just another reason why Roy Keane was just the best captain we've ever had. Positionally, he was never more than like 15 meters away from the ball, really. He was never too far away from the action. He was always there commanding, keeping people in position, making sure the team stayed disciplined. And I think that's significant. I could easily see Dion. Look, Paula, yeah, that's a very good point. Oliver, there, of course, will be exceptions to the rule because Oliver Kahn was one of the best goalkeepers that there will ever be. But I'm just saying, traditionally, personal opinion, I don't particularly like captains to be goalkeepers. I'd rather they be central midfielders. Rohan, he's saying Cristiano Ronaldo or Bruno as captain at the club is inevitable. Also, what's your thoughts on Cristiano staying and seeing out his contract? I've said this, you'll see full well that I haven't done any video on Ronaldo leaving, Ronaldo linked to Bayern Munich, Ronaldo linked with a move to Chelsea. It's not happening. Don't waste your energy on it. Ronaldo's not leaving this summer, right? I think he might leave next year, but I don't think he'll leave this year. And look, this is very much down to, I suppose, it's probably down to age more than anything in terms of who you watch growing up. But those United fans that were lucky enough to watch Brian Robson going up through the 80s into the 90s, he wasn't incredible. That's why he was known as Captain Marvel, right? It's Brian Robson and Roy Keane. It's absolutely fine to choose either of them. It really, really is. Gungshin, I see they're supporting the channel, buddy. What are you saying? You're saying, I think De Gea or Ronaldo deserve the captaincy most. Ronaldo would be more practical given his position. Imagine if Ten Hag gave it to Donny. Keep up the great content. Thank you very much, buddy. There's no chance he gives it to Donny. I don't know. I honestly, I can't put my finger on it. I think it'll be interesting to see what develops over the next 3 weeks. At this point in time, I think it'll be pure speculation to try and guess who will be getting the captaincy at Manchester United. My gut instinct tells me that it won't be Harry Maguire, that he will get it taken away from him, and I think that's the right call, completely the right call. Has to be a clean slate and done, and Harry Maguire will know. And he can't get offended by the fact that captaincy is getting taken away from him. He has not done enough to earn that armband, man. And I've told you, like, when you're captain of Manchester United, you have to be held accountable to a different level, a different set of standards. And he, simply put, has not met them, all right? He can't be offended if he gets taken away from him. That's why I think so anyway. Think how much better Robson would have been if there wasn't a drink culture at United plus the bad diet. Yeah, he was still incredible. You could say the same thing about George Best, right? But that's something that Fergie had to come in. Like Erik Ten Hag coming to pre-season today. He's walking into a culture of very comfortable, not particularly professional, overpaid, and quite entitled players who feel that Manchester United, instead of joining Manchester United and thinking, right, this is my first step on another big ladder, they're just at the top of the ladder that they want to be at, and they're not going to get any higher now. So they're like, fuck it, I'll take my foot off the gas now. I'll chill, just go in the pool. I'll chill. Don't need to work too hard. He has to switch that mentality because that mentality has engrossed the club and allowed this top four ambition. Yeah, all we need to do is get top four. Simple as that. That has to change, and Erik Ten Hag will be changing that. And that's the culture that he's coming into and changing. Sam, what made you a United fan from the beginning? And what is the first aspect of the play that had you support them? What is the first aspect that you want to see come back as a priority? My dad got me into being a United fan, as most dads do for most kids, right? I mean, my kid has got absolutely no choice. He's supporting United. I don't care if I don't live in Manchester. You're supporting United. Easy as that. In terms of the first aspect of the play, it's actually controlling a game of football. It's watching United win a game and just win a game. It's just a 2-0 win, and it feels a bit like clockwork. The possession's good. We're able to knock it around between our defenders and our midfielders for 2 minutes. And I'm not just talking side to side and backwards and side to side. It's just nice little triangles, movement, possession-based football, tiring out the opposition because they simply cannot touch the ball. You can't lose a football game if you have the ball. Simple as that. And we've been playing hot potato football for years, man. Years and years. Solskjaer, for all his good stuff, was a transition-based manager. He needed to get from the goalkeeper to the attacker as quickly as possible for it to work, to use the assets of Rashford and Martial and the explosive counter-attacking. It worked, right? But I want to see that return of confidence, that return of swagger, and that comes through possession. That comes through controlling football games. So for me, that's the thing I really want to see develop this season. Under Ten Hag, I've got no doubt it will. Absolutely no doubt it will. So yeah, look, everybody, this is when I think you can really start getting excited. I know that there's been so much frustration over the last 4 weeks. I've tried to be as positive as possible here in United People's TV, but I won't ignore the elephant in the room. When it's a situation, I will speak out about it. But I've always tried to temper frustration somewhat because I think we will be happy by the end of this summer. And I tell you what, if by the end of this week we get an official picture like this, yes, please. Yes, please. I am easily pleased. No, I'm not easily pleased. No one's... We've been in the gutter for so long. I just want to see progress. I just want to see standards returning to United. I want to see week in, week out, the same style of football, but progressively better. 1% better than the week before. 2% better than the week before. Until you eventually build a team that you know what you're going to see at the weekend. You know full well that whether we're playing Liverpool at home or Fulham away, that United will play the same with the same intensity, the same style, and the same tempo. That's just you have not been able to trust Manchester United for any game of football for years. You go into it going, I mean, if United turn up, we'll probably win. But they might not. It's mad. It's mad. And that's the thing that he's got to change. That's the standards that he's got to set. The new levels, the new minimums, the new requirements that just don't change. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it, man. What are you saying? Everybody get your comments in down here get your comments, get your questions in the comments. I'll try and answer as many as I possibly can towards the end of this show. But let me do a quick roundup for everybody who's just joining in. If you would, please drop a like on the video. It'll take you 1 second. We've handed out 15. Sigmund, big up to you, my friend. I handed out 10 memberships as well. Why not? It's a party here on United People's TV this morning. Pre-season's beginning. Erik Ten Hag's in training. Training started 16 minutes ago, I believe. We'll get some pictures. We'll get some pictures from Carrington. We'll see Donny van der Beek smiling, hugging Ten Hag, and I'm sure everyone will love that one. There's 15 players in pre-season this morning. I ran through the squad list here. Let me run through it again for anybody who didn't join in. You got Heaton, Henderson, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Baye Jones, Twanzebe, Williams, and Shaw in defence. Van der Beek, Ahmad, Sancho in midfield, and in attack you got Martial and Rashford. They're all at training today, and they're all going to be playing under Ten Hag and seeing how that goes on. Where is our centre forward? He is chilling in Portugal. He's the only centre forward we got at the moment. Warren, I didn't know what else to spend it. Oh, mate, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate that. I really do. De Jong's mind is still not made up, Paul. As Manchester Evening News reports this morning, right? It really is a case of when and not if with De Jong. I felt that for quite some time. And I don't know whether that was over-optimistic, but I felt like United knew that there was no alternative to De Jong that ticked the same boxes that De Jong ticks. For example, right, the Antony situation is different and the Martinez situation is different. If we can't go after either of those, we will find alternatives to Antony or Martinez that will probably tick the majority of the boxes. But we could not, and we would not be able to find an alternative to De Jong. Barcelona knew that. Manchester United knew that. That's why we didn't back away from any of these negotiations. It's why we've gone the whole way through, and we are going to get our man. We're going to get our man. Sub, you're asking why to drag it for so long. Again, I've spoken about this before. A lot of this situation with De Jong, I think, has actually been out of Manchester United's hands. I think Barcelona have been dragging their feet and being unreasonable up until a certain point. That's why. It's only because, I don't know whether this is only because it's Manchester United, but I think it's at least part of it. We just witness, because it's United, it's the story that sells every day, every little niggle and update we hear, we see. We get frustrated because we're part of it. Doesn't really happen, doesn't seem to happen as much to other clubs, but I don't really care or look at other clubs, so maybe it does. Sam, are there no youth team players in pre-season with the first team? I don't know. Like Garnacho, I think he was away on international duty with Argentina's under 20, so maybe he's getting a longer break. Maybe there are, but first 15, maybe just Samuel Luckhurst is just doing the first team senior squad players in that list there. Maybe there's going to be other younger players too. Brendan, nice to see you there joining, my friend. Now, let me know where you're watching from. Cole, you're saying, look, is there any possibility of signing a centre-back? We will sign a centre-back this summer, right? We'll sign a centre-back this summer. We don't know who that centre-back's going to be. At this moment in time, we know that it could be not Lautaro. Could be Lisandro Martinez. It could be Pau Torres. Nothing's really happened on that one. It's not going to be Yuri and Timber. That's pretty much what we know at this point in time. Centre-back, we don't know. Attacker, we know it's Antony that he wants. Whether we get Antony, I suppose we'll find out this week. But things are now, really, this is it. I've optimistically said and hoped that this week would be better. And then we've been frustrated and we're kicking into gear this week. This is when the party's really getting started. The preseason has started. De Jong, hopefully by Thursday. And when that De Jong situation is out of the way, United have got no excuse. We've got Tom Keane in, who we brought in to help with the transfers. I covered that yesterday. If you haven't already checked that out, it's a video on the channel, a little 10-minute informative video on Tom Keane, why we've brought him in, his experience as both a solicitor and a football agent. And hopefully he will help smooth through the process. That's what he wants. That's what we need him for. Richie, Sam, love the channel, mate. Look forward to 9:30 every day. Proper info and not clickbait, mate. Thank you very much, Rich. I tried to retain as much integrity as I possibly can. We're doing these live streams. We're doing the titles that I choose and having the conversations that I choose to have with you. I try not to be clickbait. I apologize if sometimes I get suckered into it. Sometimes you do. But I try to maintain as much integrity as I possibly can. Anxiety, it's amazing what a week can do, man. It really is. And as I said, it's why I've remained optimistic at my core. Because I think whether it ends up with those three at the end of the summer, I don't know, right? You don't know. No one knows. I don't even think United know. But De Jong is happening. That's going to be done by the end of this week. We'll find out more on the Antony situation. Okay, let's see how that develops. We'll find out more on the Martinez situation. Okay, we'll see how that develops. But I'm not particularly worried about those two because I think there will be alternatives, viable and strong alternatives to both Antony and Martinez. It was the De Jong situation where we were between a rock and a hard place. Because if that De Jong situation didn't work out, I didn't know where United were going to turn. But as Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News says here, as the Times and the Telegraph say over here, Manchester United absolutely are aiming to get this De Jong signing done this week. Big up. Jogo Benito, I can see there. So keep an eye on Malacia. Yep. Malacia to Leon, apparently, according to Voetbal International from the Netherlands. That's not gone through yet. I know there was quite a lot of people losing their shit over that, but that's not gone through yet. So maybe he could still join United. And then you see we're getting linked with Tagliafico as well. Naturally, we're getting linked to every single Ajax player. Jeez. Paula, look, I whine sometimes. We all whine sometimes. Shit. It's been frustrating. I'm glad I did that video on Saturday. I absolutely stood by that. Like, I can see how we're just on the edge of the precipice. And I tell that fear has been driving the exaggerated levels of frustration among United fans. I think all of us United fans, we're sitting here and we know what we're on the edge of this summer. We can see that we're 35 points behind City and 34 behind Liverpool before they made their signings. 11 points behind Arsenal, 12 behind Spurs, and nearly 20 behind Chelsea before they've made their signings. And Newcastle are about to go crazy this summer. And we're sitting here going, we're sitting on our hands going, what are we doing? And that fear of legitimately dropping out of that top four completely and into obscurity was driving that frustration, really driving it. But De Jong first, I tell you, there's going to be such a sense of like, we've got De Jong. We've got De Jong. And hopefully that comes on Thursday or maybe before Thursday. I'm not fussy. Tuesday, Wednesday, later on Monday. I don't mind. Just get it done this week. Jason, who won the shirt? I announced it on Telegram last night. I think I did. Honestly, everybody, if you haven't already joined the community, there's a little QR code down there. If you don't want to follow that, let me try and, is that post in the comments here? Oh, that's too big. I'll post a link to the community just there for you. Honestly, everybody, please join in. I'm going to keep doing giveaways on there. When I launch the new members only content that will start hopefully at the start of the season, that's what I'm aiming for. That's only going to exist in Telegram. So if you're a member, all the new members, by the way, head over to the community tab on YouTube and you can get access to the private members only chat. There's a separate link that you can follow. Same on Facebook. Go to the supporters group page, the private page that you get access to when you become a member, and you can get access to the Telegram, the private group. Come on, man. Exciting times, man. It really is. The frustration, I think, is going to get eaten away by the excitement this week. Excitement not only at Frenkie de Jong, but the excitement that this man is here. He's arrived. And the Erik Ten Hag era, if you want to call it that, it started today. My video that goes out at lunchtime, I'm going to take a look at all the articles that have been published on Ten Hag's plans. What's he going to be doing this first couple of weeks? I'm going to run through what everybody's been saying on that and hopefully give a little bit of insight into maybe what Ten Hag's going to be doing this week with this first team squad. It begins now, man. It's been a rough few years and we're nowhere near back, but this is going to be hopefully the start of a different direction for the club, and it's going to include Frenkie de Jong. Will it include Antony? I'll bring you all the updates on that. Martinez, not sure either, but make sure you subscribe to United People's TV. If you haven't already, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30, and I'll be back later this lunchtime with another video on Ten Hag's preseason. But look, he's here. Let's start getting excited. Take it easy, everyone. Have a good day.